Hello, people. I wanted to start off by saying I have not uploaded anything for almost a year now. And I do feel bad because I wanted to keep up with making vlogs, and we've just been through quite a year. I feel like I'm at a good place where I can make more fun content. I feel like we're finally at a good place to where our mindset is ready. But anyway, we will get to the video. Mason's trying to come into it. You gotta say hi. Hi. He will be in a lot of the videos, probably all of them. But yeah, I think our lives are definitely about to change even more, and I wanted to be able to share all of that. So let's get into it. Okay, so it's taken me, oh Lord, over half a year to be able to talk about this, just because it is so painful to even think about or talk about. And I actually haven't talked about it in a long time to anybody, just because it hurts still, and it probably always will. I am one of many that have had a miscarriage. I was almost 10 weeks pregnant whenever I had my first ultrasound, and we found out that she did not have a heartbeat, and that was the worst day of my life. The second worst day of my life was having to go through a DNC surgery to remove everything because my body wasn't naturally doing it on its own. But I was given a day. But anyway, that was my first miscarriage and my only miscarriage so far. But I wanted to talk about this because I am currently pregnant. I just started my 27th week, which I will give a shot of my stomach, and it's just a lot easier to talk about it once, I guess, this will be on, because I mean, maybe there's somebody out there that can talk to me about their experience if they went through the same thing. I'm gonna do my best to not get emotional. I was almost 10 weeks pregnant, and I know to some people that's not that far along, but like, I was so excited and so ready to have another baby. I do currently have a 5-year-old son, and I was just ready to have another baby and add more to our little family. And I'll probably never get past it. I'll never get over it. It's just one of those things that I think about almost every single day, if not every day. I try to not think about it so much because it does get me down, you know, just like anybody else that was trying hard for a baby and, you know, was ready for it. And, you know, life happens. But I don't know, I feel like maybe putting this on here will help other people realize that they're not alone, and that it's not easy to get through it, but you do get through it. You have to. So this is later, you know, later on, and I just wanted to be able to get past this part and be able to talk about it and explain what's going on, and then be able to share this pregnancy. And unfortunately, I'm 27 weeks along, late, you know, showing this footage, but we've been so busy. I haven't made time. I haven't been able to make time for it. But I'm hoping to get better And I'm going to try to get better anyway with recording or just having more footage of what goes on and my experiences and, you know, symptoms that I have, which I have written down here because I forget a lot. I have two different sets of notes. One is to explain what I went through with the first trimester, and the second is to explain, of course, the second trimester. But anyway, I wanted to first explain the miscarriage before I was to get into these notes. But back on that, we did find out that, you know, she passed away a week prior to the ultrasound. They were able to tell that due to the size that she was. She was showing about a 9-week size fetus instead of 10 weeks. And of course, it was absolutely devastating. And we ended up doing the test to see if it was a female or a male, and we didn't know for sure if that would tell if there was a chromosome issue, if it was genetic. I love you too. You're such a turd. I'm talking. You gotta go play. You gotta go play. Okay, you can be in it later. Okay? Yes? If you want to be in it later, you gotta be good. Go.
I never talk, silly goose.
Silly goose. We ended up getting the results back from a test that we decided to take. It was a blood test. Just to show, we were just hoping to see if it was a boy or a girl, which I had my suspicions it was a girl, because it was very different from the first pregnancy I had. Somehow I knew. But it turns out it was a girl. And I remember the doctor saying, you know, if there was a chromosome issue or abnormality that would show up, it would actually be in the blood test results, the lab work that they did. And indeed it did. So that explained why she passed away. But basically, she had triploidy syndrome, or triploidy, which is basically she had an extra set of chromosomes, and there was no actual way that she would have survived. So there was nothing we could have done to have prevented it. It was just the hardest time of my life, for sure. It's so hard to talk about. Even this, even when it's been past 6 months, you know, it's so hard to talk about. I'm just doing my best to not get emotional. We ended up telling everyone that we were pregnant literally a couple days. Not everyone. We ended up telling some family members a couple days before we went to our ultrasound, because we were excited. And you know, then whenever we told other family members after the ultrasound, you know, hey, this happened and then this happened, and they had no idea that we were even pregnant. That was really unfortunate. But I was waiting to tell almost everyone, because I mean, some of them figured it out. I was already nauseous by that point, and it was really hard to hide. So yeah, I ended up going through a DNC surgery to have it all removed, because my body was not naturally doing it itself. And I was given a day, which did not feel like enough time, but at the same time, it was really hard being pregnant knowing that she's not alive. that took 2 or 3 days to heal, and for my stomach to go back to normal. It was very swollen after that. It was extremely painful, which a lot of people say a DNC surgery isn't that painful, but I don't know how it's not, because I swelled up so much. It looked like I was full-blown pregnant. By the time, I think it was like the day after, where they're basically scraping you out because your body's not releasing it itself. So I was very swollen, and it was very painful, and my body was contracting, trying to get it out. But yes, we were trying to have her, and it turns out it was a girl, and I was right, it was a girl. But we ended up naming her Ariel. I felt the need to name her. I know a lot of people are probably going to be like, oh, you were only 10 weeks pregnant. Like, why are you so attached? Well, that's a baby to me. It's alive. It was our baby. And it's treated no different from any other baby, no matter how long or short-lived they were. She meant a lot to me, and I wish I would have done anything for her to survive. We actually didn't want to keep trying. I guess some people do, some people don't. Mentally, yes, I wanted to keep trying. After a while, I did. And I think that was just during the time of I was just so desperate to have something to look forward to, because I was in such a dark place. I was just not happy. I was so, even though I wasn't lonely, I felt lonely. It really got to me, and I just didn't know how to handle it. But after talking to my husband and just being able to release my feelings to some people about what I was going through, and just being able to just let it go, let it out, it felt so good to talk about. And of course I was angry, I was sad, I was very emotional, and I just didn't understand why that happened. But there was nothing that we could have done to have prevented it. Basically, they said, in the lab results, that it's not a genetic problem. Meaning that the extra chromosome that she had should not be a reoccurring thing. So we were hopeful that if we were to try again, it gave us some hope that that wouldn't happen again. But you never really know. It did scare us. And we actually were not trying to have another baby because we were scared, and we didn't want to have to go through that again. And I kept telling myself, maybe it's just not for me. Maybe I'm just meant to only have one child, and that's okay. I was okay with that. It took me a while to be okay with that, but I came to it, and I dealt with it. And then of course, when that happened, when I was finally in a good place mentally, we ended up pregnant. And I cried so hard because I was not only happy, I was scared. And I didn't know what to think. I was like, oh my gosh, I've got so many mixed emotions. I just didn't know what to say. I didn't even know how to tell him, my husband. I didn't know how to tell anybody. I was just worried about how they're gonna feel more than I was worried about how I was gonna feel, which is crazy, but that's just how I think. And it turned out everyone was very excited, and that helped me so much. It helped me get even more excited myself, because this baby deserves just as much love, and I didn't want to go through this pregnancy being depressed or scared or have severe anxiety, you know. But going through that, you know, it's really hard not to be scared. So yeah, we are 27 weeks pregnant, and I will give a belly shot of it later on. But I do want to explain some things that I have been through with this pregnancy, and kind of just go over them quickly, because I don't want to make a whole long video about it. I knew I was pregnant. Oh gosh. I knew I was pregnant whenever we had our garage sale. For some reason, it was kind of iffy, because I was looking at Mason's little newborn outfits that I was selling. I started feeling some pain in my breast, and it was really odd. So I thought maybe, oh, is this like a baby fever experience? I don't know. I was just trying to have an excuse to use to explain it, but for some reason I just instantly had pain. It wasn't unbearable, it was just noticeable. And I was just sitting there. I remember sitting there just touching and like, oh my god. And whenever I told my husband about it, he was like, that's weird. So we just kind of went about our days, and that was the first sign. The second sign, of course, was nausea, and that happened between 5 and 6 weeks. I don't know exactly which one, but that's whenever I started getting nauseous, and it was every single morning. If I wasn't throwing up, I was very nauseous. I was literally dry heaving or gagging, something. And just about every smell that was pretty strong made me dry heave. And so basically I knew that I was pregnant around, I would say, I had my suspicions around week 3 actually, which is kind of crazy, but it was because of the garage sale that we had and just feeling different. I just felt like not like myself. I just felt different all over, and I couldn't explain it. And that's the same feeling that I got whenever I was pregnant with Mason. So I kind of put 2 and 2 together and was like, is it possible? And of course my battery died. But we're back. I wanted to take a pregnancy test around, it was almost 4 weeks when I would have expected my period. But right before my period, I decided to take a test, and it was there. No doubt about it, I was pregnant. And I was so emotional, so scared, like I said, but happy at the same time. And I cried probably for over an hour. Like, it was pretty crazy, but I was so excited. And I told my husband, I think a couple days later, because I wanted to surprise him, but I couldn't hold it for much longer, so I just ended up telling him. And he was excited and scared at the same time, but he was more excited, and we've been so excited ever since. But yeah, my first signs was my boobs hurting and then the nausea. I was also very tired, easily got tired. I started throwing up around 5 weeks, and it was not just morning sickness, it was all day sickness. Let's see. That's all I have for my first trimester. It was just basically the sore breast the whole time, just about, and the nausea. The nausea finally started going away, I'd say probably, I think week 16 is what I remember. It was week 16. And it wasn't just a complete stop. It slowly went away over time. Some days I'd have good days where nothing would happen, and then some days it's like all of a sudden it's horrible. It's all day again, and I'm like, oh gosh, it's back. But it did eventually go away. Not completely, because even now, some days it'll hit me, but it's not an all-day thing. It's just very, very random. My second trimester was rough, to say the least. I have cramping, Braxton Hicks, a lot. I never experienced that with my first pregnancy. So this pregnancy has been like night and day compared to my last one. I've had Braxton Hicks to the point to where it felt like full-on contractions, like I was in labor, to the point to where it was very painful, and I was concerned that my body was already ready to be in labor. So I did end up going to the doctor, and they checked me to make sure I wasn't dilating, and I wasn't. So that happened for probably 2 or 3 weeks, on and off. For some reason it just kept happening, and I noticed it would happen a lot whenever I would be exercising. Right after I was done exercising, I would start cramping up really bad and feeling contraction-like pain, and it was awful. And it finally went away, and now the only thing I'm experiencing is Braxton Hicks, heartburn a lot. Never experienced that with my boy. It started around week 20, and sometimes I do have palpitations, but it's usually whenever I'm like out of breath or exercising like normal. I've also experienced round ligament pain. I explained the pain and pressure that I was feeling down below once I was going through the pain with those contraction-like cramps, and they explained to me that the pain that I was feeling in that area was round ligament pain. Again, another thing that I never experienced with my first pregnancy. During these contractions or Braxton Hicks, I did feel a lot of pressure down below, as if something was going to come out of me. And that's another reason why I was concerned that my body was trying to go through labor way too early. Constipation, fully 100% will not stop. It has been a problem. Fatigue, for sure, that has not stopped. Some pregnancies that women have, they feel it on and off. They say their second trimester is like a breeze, and they get all this energy and feel motivated again and feel good. I never felt that. It's gradually gotten worse. And I'm already starting to walk wobbly because of the pain and the pressure that I feel a lot of times down below. So it's very awkward for me because I'm not used to that, and I've never experienced it this early on. So for this pregnancy, yes, it's a lot harder than my first one. Even though this has been a hard pregnancy, I still get so excited. I am still excited to meet this baby, and we did find out that it is a girl, So Mason is super excited to have a little sister, and I think it's perfect because I always wanted a little boy and a little girl, and I don't think we would try again after this one. I think this is going to be the last baby, just because of how hard this pregnancy has been. And everything, it seems like everything bad that could happen, or just a bad symptom, I've had. And I'm so ready to meet her. We don't have a name picked out yet, but we do have some ideas. But we're probably not going to say what her name is until after we have her. It's just one of those things where I can't pick out the name for her until I see her face. And I'm like, oh, well, this definitely matches her. Like, this is definitely for her. The same thing happened whenever I had Mason. It was between Mason and another name, and I was like, whatever he looks like. I know it's weird, but that's just how it was. I'm so excited to be able to share this journey, and I don't know if other people are going through the same things as I am. I'm sure there are plenty of people that are, but those are just my symptoms and my experience. I hope to be able to share the rest of it with you. We are very excited, and I will go ahead and show you a little short clip of what my stomach looks like, and we'll go from here. Okay, so ignore the mess in the bathroom. But this is my belly, and I'll pull it up here. Again, this is 27 weeks, but this is what my belly looks like. And what's crazy is that at this point with my first pregnancy with Mason, I was way bigger, and I also had the line already through the front, and my belly button was all the way out. And it's not doing that yet, but that is the belly. That's it. But that is the end to the video, and I hope that it was, long story short, I don't really know what it's going to turn out to be, but I tried my best to explain my experiences with both good and bad things, and hopefully we can share the rest of my experiences together. Bye. Say bye.
Bye.
Oh, and ignore all this stuff because we're in the middle of remodeling, so.
Bye, guys.